you do? Vamos, amigos. What a day! What a day of football that was. 1 million goals. 1 million goals were scored today. Imagine being guided towards 2 unders. Can you imagine? Ugh. Who would ever do that? Not us at Elite Fantasy. Even though I said maybe we got some unders yesterday, we pivoted over in the bet pack over at EliteSportsBetting.com. We did hit the under on the Spain game, but the second that Simone let the ball go in the back of the net, we went ahead and hit 2 different live overs, which of course hit, as we'll see here. And by the way, before we get started, thank you. 23 likes on yesterday's video. Much appreciated. And hey, by the way, no dislikes. So thank you guys as well. Hopefully you still come back for some more action because on the whole, for the tournament in general, we've been on the right side of things more often than not. But it's just an absolutely bonkers day today as far as gameplay goes. And look, situations change after big moments. We talked about with the Holland game, you know, Malen misses the breakaway, and then on the ensuing counterattack, De Ligt gets a red card. Game's totally different. Same thing today. Spain absolutely in control of the game, and then all of a sudden, an own goal happens. Before we get to that, we are brought to you by EliteFantasy.com. That's what allows me to do this for free for you every single slate. Got everything. Baseball, basketball, NHL still going on. Stanley Cup coming up. MMA, we got Conor McGregor coming up in 2 weeks. And of course, over here in our little more tab is where we reside. Articles, optimizer, projections. Thanks to my boy Ryan Clifford. Podcasts, and of course, the chat room. We talk about all of our different options as far as who we play. And tomorrow, Tuesday, we're going to have some interesting team news in that England game. But first, let's talk about these games here. 5-3 was the final in the Spain-Croatia game. Of course, own goal, unbelievable. Spain comeback, Sarabia scores, Torres gets a couple goals, and then all of a sudden, we're off to the races. But a couple key things happened here. 2-1 after the Azpilicueta goal from the Torres cross. Eric Garcia comes off the pitch, 72nd minute. Why are we changing out a center back? Okay, bringing on a little bit of height maybe with Powell, Torres, Garcia the smaller side, more of a brainiac, reads the game well. Torres does get the assist, brilliant ball after the restart to Torres, Ferran Torres, who scores. But then Gaia gets hurt as well, so a forced substitution to bring Jordi Alba on. On the whole, I like Alba over Gaia, okay? And so does Enrique. He started him every single game, gave him the captain's armband, in fact. But I don't like changing 2 of the back 4, and then sure enough, Orsic and Pasalic at basically the last kick of regular time ties things up before Morata takes the lead in overtime, and Olazabal finished it off 5-3. But this Spain team is a wagon. I mentioned it yesterday. 23 attempts, 20 from open play, and I had highlighted this player position. Look at this. Look how far up the pitch they really are. You know, you wonder why Simone had so much space from that pass back from Pedri when it happened. It's because look how far up they start their line. Spain is the closest thing we have to a club team in this tournament. I think that's why they're going to go extremely far, even though they have a pretty nice matchup coming up with the Swiss, but then potential date with Italy or Belgium in the semifinals should they get there. But pass well, move well without the ball. They read the game well. Obviously, they have a ton of depth, which they showed a little bit today, maybe to their detriment in times. But Spain do advance. And then France, similar situation, freakily similar situation. Pretty much in control of the game, although Switzerland did have a little bit more of the ball. Seferovic gets us started off. The great ball from Zuber in the goal. And then here comes France. Benzema, 2 goals in 3 minutes, basically, to take the lead. And then Pogba with the absolute worldie to put him up 3-1. And then Seferovic grabs another one. And Gavranovic, who's been active off the bench the entire tournament, comes in, had a goal, called back, just offside, as he pretty much always is, but took his goal really, really well there to tie things up in the 90th minute as well. Kingsley Coman almost wins the game in regulation off the crossbar, but no blood in extra time and overtime, and then we head to PKs where every single player missed, and we come down to the 10th player, Kylian Mbappe. Look at this. First of all, look at this. Are you a bit nervous? He's looking left, looking right at the keeper, looking left. As he approaches the ball here, his little sidestep comes up. Not a whole lot of conviction. Not horribly hit, but that's a pretty good height for the goalkeeper. Good save by Sommer there. And then Mbappe knows that's the end of that. Sommer can't believe it. Make sure his foot's still on the line. France is out. Au revoir, Francais. Peace and chicken grease. So, one of the big favorites, the pre-tournament favorite, along with England, is now out. Speaking of which, let's talk about England versus Germany. Maybe the matchup of the group stage. England possibly going to this back three. They've been in a back four the entire tournament. They've never conceded a goal. Haven't even come that close, to be honest. But do they switch to this back three? Phillips and Rice, more of a natural just pair as a center mid pair, kind of like we see with Pogba and Conte today. Different types of players, but each can cover their own ground and handle themselves in a midfield that's going to be a little bit crowded. Trippier James allows us to get two more defenders on the pitch. James can certainly work up this right side. I wouldn't mind seeing Shaw here at this left wing back role, but this is what Southgate went with that had so much success in the World Cup. This back three with Maguire, Stones, and Walker. Walker adds the pace, Maguire adds the height, and Stones is more of the distributor. I don't mind this at all, but when we go back and look at everything that they've done so far, I mean, look at this. 0.36 expected goals for Croatia with a back four. Remember, back four. Trippier, Mings, Stones, and Walker. Against Scotland, back four. Shaw, Mings, Stones, Reece James. And again, 0.66 expected goals. They give up 11 shots in that game. That was the weird one where England were massive favorites. Should have had the win there, but Scotland was in it. Had the better first half, and this is shown here basically by this. Maybe the bigger moments. Early for England there, but Scotland well in the game. And then, of course, Czech Republic, 0.31 expected goals. So, in total, what do we have? That's basically one expected goal plus 0.36. Like 1.4 expected goals from 3 games. Czech Republic, we've already seen advance to the quarterfinals. Croatia put up a good fight in the round of 32. And we're going to switch to a back 3? I don't know. It's something that I think is maybe the right move as far as getting forward more, believe it or not. Doesn't make a whole ton of sense, adding another defender and then getting more chances for. But this is more what they're familiar with. Kane can be pushed up. He'll have 2 players closer to him. The problem they were having when they were going with the 4-2-3-1, and we'll take a look at the Czech Republic game, is these two weren't getting pushed up high enough, and Harry Kane was oftentimes isolated. Jack Grealish, I thought, was brilliant and should be in the team. Was able to connect with these two and a little bit with Kane, but more so out wide. Really, Kane needs some partners up there, which this 3-4-3 does tend to help with. Sterling's then forced to push inside. Foden's forced to push further inside as James and Trippier or Shaw get down the wings there. But you'll see there's one massive absence, maybe 2 massive absences from this lineup. No Mason Mount, who's been training individually, could feature, likely not to start. And no Jack Grealish. I think you could start him here. I think Saka did enough to earn his place over here at right wing. But essentially what we're trying to do here is use this 5, Phillips, Rice, Maguire, Stones, and Walker, to handle these 3. And then Sterling drops back in, Foden drops back in to help contain these. Trippier should have Kimmich, James on Gosens, and Walker's there to help with Gosens on the back post as well. I think this formation makes a lot of sense for England, but here's why I'm worried about their chances moving forward. Kane hasn't been given any service whatsoever. Germany is completely on the front foot in all of their games. Even against France, completely dominant. An own goal is what did them in. If you remember, Mats Hummels had the own goal there. As he got down the line, crossed it back in, boom, off his shin in the goal. 0.26 expected goals against France. And this is 10 shots, 62% possession. This is one of their tamer games. Now, they're already behind the 8 ball. They've lost. They need to push forward. What do? Come out and hammer 4 past Portugal. On the front foot the entire game. The game's basically out of hand at that point. Concede the goal early to Cristiano Ronaldo on the counterattack. Come right back with 2 really good chances, which force own goals. Havertz, Gosens bags the 4th, and then that's when you see the foot off the brake here a little bit, and Portugal coming back into the match. But when they want to, they can turn on the style. 57% possession, 2.64 expected goals. Really kind of the Rolls Royce of this tournament. And then look at this against Hungary. Absolute domination. Goals from Havertz and Goretzka as he came on late. 2.23. Again, under 1 expected goal for their opponent. 75% possession, 18 shots. So why is that a worry? England doesn't mind conceding possession as long as it's in the right areas, and Germany wants to have the possession. Ginter, Hummels is really good with distribution out of the back, and Rudiger's more of a destroyer. But of course, we know Kroos is the metronome in the midfield. And whether it's Gundogan or Goretzka, this player is going to be key, because I do think these 5 will handle these 3 pretty well. Gnabry should be working these channels. I don't think Walker's pace is something he wants to mess with too much. Havertz can come underneath. This Germany team, I think, is just going to create too many chances considering how much they'll have the ball. I'm expecting 60 to 63% possession from Germany. How many chances are created is totally up in the air. We thought Monday was going to be maybe a couple close games. All of a sudden we get an own goal, and then Switzerland scores first, and all bets are off. And away we go. Ironically, if England are to score first, I think that slows the pace down, because I think they'll be more content to sit and defend and just keep things in front of them versus trying to attack. But this Germany team is going to be balls to the wall going for it there. So I'm fine taking a stab on them, plus 202 to win. A draw as well is an option, but if you combine the two and go draw, double chance for Germany, just a little juicy. Minus 165 is where that's at right now. What I'm probably going to do in the bet pack over on EliteSportsBetting.com is not have anything pregame and just see how the flow of the match is going. This is one where it's literally too close to call this far in advance. I need to see what the England formation looks like. I need to see who's starting. If Phil Foden's in there, that's a cone you might as well just throw out. He doesn't do a whole hell of a lot in this tournament. But just based on where we're at, let's assume it's a 3-4-3 and these teams are who are trotted out there. I'll take my chances plus 202 to win. Am I worried about it being in Wembley? No. England's been in Wembley the entire tournament. When have you been impressed by their play? The argument for England is they've done what they had to do to get to this point. Their reward, Germany in the round of 32, who I think could knock them out. Let's talk about the last game of the day quickly. Sweden versus Ukraine. We know Sweden can absolutely slow things down, stop momentum of anyone, let alone Ukraine. I'm worried about Ukraine. I'm worried about them. Malinovsky was yanked at halftime of the last match. He's also missed a penalty kick in this match, in this tournament. Yaremchuk has a couple goals in him, but hasn't done much beside that. Yarmolenko's been brilliant, but really slowed down against Austria and has a ton of minutes on his legs. Often injured, rarely this fit. I'm worried about the production from him. And these 3 here are more placeholders in front of this back 4. Karavayev, I think, is going to be crucial to this Ukrainian attack. But if Spain can't break these 8 down, how in the hell are Ukraine going to break them down? Berg, I think, could get the start. But there's one name who I think changes this game. This could be the way we come out as far as Sweden goes and the way Ukraine come out. One name changes this. Kulusevski, the Juventus player who came on, had 2 assists in their last match. He's something completely different than what they have. Berg is fine, experienced, does his job well. He is not the playmaker that Kulusevski is, and he's a good partner for Isak as well in that final third. This is going to be a super low-scoring game, in my opinion. You know, we look at all of the games from Ukraine. Really struggled against Netherlands, completely outclassed, got their couple goals late. Remember the worldie from Yarmolenko, and then bagged another one quickly. They beat North Macedonia, fantastic. They did create in this game almost 4 expected goals, but really struggled against Austria, who I think is not nearly as good a team as Sweden is, especially from an organizational standpoint. So I think this is a stalemate. Kulusevski comes on in the second half. Sweden turns on the style, perhaps pulls away 1-0 or 2-0. But I do like them at plus 147 to win the match. So those are our 2 bets that we have. Sweden is going in the bet pack for sure, plus 147 to win. Might wait and see on that Germany-England match. But it's going to be a hell of a day as we get ready to nail down these final spots in the round of 16. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. If you do, please subscribe to the channel and hit that like. Awesome job yesterday with all the likes. I'm not going to give you a goal. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up. If not, no big deal. We'll try again the next time. I am Duke for Elite Fantasy. We'll see you guys. Adios.